will get in line and do right.
All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, welcome, everyone. We are back and we are live. Our topic that we're discussing today, the Black male crisis, the genesis of pain. This topic was brought about. I was watching some YouTube short videos and I come across this sister's page, and she was going off on one of her sons. And I just looked at it and started looking at a different video and a different video from the same sister. And a lot of problematic things start to show up. And my thought was, is she actually raising this young man, or is she actually destroying this young man? And I said, this is a subject that we definitely have to get into and definitely understand what's this process, what is taking place. So welcome again, Doc.
And here, brother.
You haven't seen any of the videos or anything yet, but just the topic, the Black male crisis. When you have a single mother raising a son, this one was raising two sons without a father being present. Is she really able to raise that son and make him into a man?
You know, I would argue that they could raise responsible, conscientious, dutiful human beings, but the raising of a son is something totally different. I'm reminded of the words of, and God rest his brother's soul, Jawanza Kanjufu, who was a major sort of like a fork in the road for me. Jawanza Kanjufu would say that Black women, he was speaking about Black women in particular, he said Black women raise their daughters and love their sons. Mm-hmm. And when you really think about that, a lot of the source material for the gender wars that we've been in for far too long between Black men and Black women is emanating from the boys, the males who were raised in female-headed households. It's almost as if it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that here on the one hand, you have Black women who feel that they don't need a man, who are raising men who are in many ways going to be subpar types of men. So no, I don't believe that they can raise a boy to be a man any more than a man would be able to raise up a girl to understand the intricacies and the nuances of being a Black woman.
Now, when you say that, they raise their daughters, what does that actually mean? Can you break that down for us? What does that actually mean?
Well, in many ways, what you're seeing is the daughter is going to be taught how to work, how to go out and pay bills, how to be organized, the importance of really, and think about the mother's present plight of being a single female, a single female parent. She's going to teach her daughter an idea of independence that's going to supersede and conflict with cooperation with a man, because the overarching message that's going to be socialized into her and also is going to be modeled and displayed for her is that you can never be too trusting or reliant upon a man, because at any moment that man may very well leave. Look at me. Look at what happened to me. I didn't set out here to necessarily have be a single female-headed household, and of course, children are going to receive a one-sided story on how or why the marriage relationship or what have you ended. And I would venture to say that, and I'm being generous, 85% of the time, the full brunt of the blame for the failure of a marriage and the shattering of a family is going to be placed around the neck, almost as if it's a noose of the father who's not there to represent his position on what occurred.
So, Doc, I'm gonna ask you this question straight out because I've heard this many, many times before. Um, would you say that the Black woman is the cause of the problems in the Black community when it comes to the way the children are just running, wild? For those children are there, 90% of them, if not 100% of them, are from single parent families, and mom is the only one there. Is she the
Well,
actual problem?
the thing is that I think that the assigning of that much blame to anyone who's Black in a nation that is founded upon white supremacy is sort of short-sighted. I think that there's so many things that go into the generation of a single female-headed household and the consequences of doing that. So I'm not going to lay all the blame at the foot of Black women because I truly believe that for 90% of Black women, they are attempting to, number one, do the best that they know how to do. They've just been put into a situation often where they were not raised correctly. They were raised in a disassembled community, in a destroyed household.
Mhm.
Knowing how to be, I use that term a lot, that somewhere along the lines, some people learned how to be, and other people have no idea of how to be. We're seeing a lot of multi-generational single female headed households, which in many ways puts you in the mindset of this is what my grandmother did, this is what my mother did, and many of them are entering into unions before God with an understanding of, quite simply, well, this ain't gonna last always,
Mhm.
and have been in many ways schooled by the single mothers that preceded them of how to lay the groundwork to escape, how to lay the groundwork so that you land on your feet. And so, on the one hand, I think that the more primary direct blame can be laid at the feet of Black women. Yet at the same time, I'm not denying or ignoring the fact of all the different maladies that impact Black folk, from Black men being involved in, you know, drugs, Black women being involved in drugs. It's hard to be Black in America and to survive whole and sane. I don't think that any of us really survive whole and sane. I think that we pick up the pieces of us that we are able to use that are useful to navigate this thing called life.
Mm. And what about the idea, Doc, that we can hear today, and I don't know where the origin of it came from, but this idea that a Black woman does not need a man, does not need a Black man um, to be a successful parent.
Well, the thing is that those ideas are not coming from our historical experience. This
Mhm.
idea of single female headed households is a relatively last 50 to 60 years phenomenon. And there are some very real reasons for why. It's not accidental that these ideas occur immediately after the idea of integration, immediately
Mhm.
after the idea of Black folk going to predominantly white institutions, which is going to shift their value system. Those two things can't be, they're intertwined, they're interlocked with each other. And so what you have, and in addition to that, you also have this other thing, which is quite simply with integration coming, you see a lot of black men who are no longer going to be able to control their employment status. We
Mm.
go from having at least some semblance of a black economy where we could employ ourselves at a limited rate to not being able to do that at all. And when you have a society that is advancing this idea, I want to say it was the Weather Girls or something like that,
Mhm.
the R&B group that said ain't nothing going on but the rent.
Right.
When you have black men being denigrated to the idea that your only worth and your only utility is providing.
Mm.
And you're in a situation where, regardless of how hard you try and how hard you work, you're still making less than your white counterparts. And that's for those who are lucky enough to get gainful employment.
Mhm.
So you're in many ways, because you've adopted the worldview of white folk, and you haven't adopted the worldview of poor and working class white folk who would be at the station that you are. You're looking at middle class and upper middle class, if not rich and wealthy white folk. And you want to know, talking about black women, they want to know, how come my man can't do that
Mm.
so that I can sit at home like the white woman do and not work and just live a life of luxury, be at at the gym and maybe tend to the kids, even at you want to stay at home even after they've entered school. So in many ways, we have a serious situation where integration occurs, and integration is not just a physical one. And one could argue that physical integration was the least of the. I think that there was a mental integration, a assimilation almost, where you have people who have a beer budget developing champagne taste almost overnight.
Mm. Mm. Interesting. Doc, I think it was probably a few years ago, I made this statement. I said that our women, you're good doctors, good lawyers, good teachers. You're good in the office, you're good accountants, you do all of these things good, but you're not a good mother.
Hmm.
You abandon your job as a mother to go out and chase these other things. Now, when I said that, it didn't go over pretty well, and I said it kind of, I was really into it when I said it, but I meant it.
Hmm.
I meant it 1,000%. Well, do you agree with that when we're looking at some of our black women?
But yeah, the thing is that black women have every right, like everyone else does, to live the life that they want to live. It's just that you can't live what I would consider a individualized life
Mm-hmm.
and still expect a family. So on the one hand, you want the companionship, the security, the financial benefits of being in a union, regardless of if it's married or not, but you're not willing to sacrifice anything for it.
Mm-hmm.
We have when you're talking about where your values lie, and that's really what we're constantly avoiding talking about. What is it that you value the most? Do you value marriage and the family? That's a yes or no answer. Or
Mm-hmm.
are there other things that you value more than that, such as the adoration that one gets from dressing scantily, being scantily clad, and having men all over them,
Mm-hmm.
or the ability to go to the, I don't know, the Gucci, the Prada store, or what have you, and or buy a Michael Kors bag or whatever the new bag is, and have that on your shoulder as you walk into brunch to go in and act like you got it, and spending money that you actually do not have. So we have in many ways we've lost our way in regards to what's truly important. And we've shifted away from the idea of being sturdy, good people, mother, father, we live within our means and what have you, to I got to go get that bag. And you're seeing this type of, and I don't have any data behind this, but I would venture to guess that you're seeing that type of thinking amongst males and females
Mhm.
from people who were not raised in a home with a hardworking father who displayed to you through his actions the value of a dollar and how hard you had to work to get a dollar. So in many ways, I do believe that Black women, some Black women, I won't say all, that some
Mhm.
Black women have absconded from their duties as mothers into the race in pursuit of individualism, in pursuit of living life the way that they want to live their life. And once again, you have every right to do that. But don't turn around after you have decided to live that type of life and assert that you've had to get out here and go work so hard because Black men are inadequate. No, there are Black men who are more than willing, who are eager. I know a bunch of brothers who are looking for somebody, and these are good brothers.
Mhm.
Yet they get passed over for one reason or another. And you have a situation where we have sisters who are now in their 40s, 50s, who are childless, who
Mhm.
don't have anyone. And now they're facing the decline of their physical health, their mental well-being. And for many of them, it's almost a guarantee of there has to be fear and fright about making it through retirement. Number one, do you have enough money for that? And number two, who gonna come see about you?
Mm.
Because we all need somebody to come see about us.
Mhm.
And you have, and I'll end with this. You have this idea that Black men, and so much of the gender wars and the discussion points that are being talked about, you have this thing going on where we know from the data that Black men die before anyone else.
Mhm.
We literally work ourselves to death. That is just what it is. That's why we've developed a culture that surrounds grandmothers because Grandpa Papa, he died 7 years ago. From whatever ailment he got from working. Could have been in a steel mill. Could have been anywhere, breathing in the fumes from asphalt, the oil and gas industry, and what have you. But even having the data that says that Black men die before anyone else, you still have these things that are the equivalent of urban legends that are saying, well, Black men are dying alone in nursing homes. No, it's simply not true. The data does not support that. It's actually Black women who are dying alone in nursing homes and assisted living facilities, and
Mm.
because they didn't invest in people. They
Mm.
invested in a career. They invested in a job. And then there comes that tipping point where they have to look up and have to really honestly realize that they have no one. They may have a big house, they may have luxury cars, they may have, every designer bag is, but will that designer bag come see about you?
Mm.
Any of those things. I mean, we're really talking about deteriorating goods, something that was cut off of a dead carcass of a cow that
Mm.
was sewed together, and a label was put on it, and label was probably put on it in China, that that you valued more than human connections because you hot girl summered it through your 20s and your 30s. And
Mm.
so that's the harsh reality. And that's not even dealing with the idea that we tend to go towards what's familiar when we look at relationships. So it's not accidental that you have so many gainfully employed middle class Black men
Mm-hmm.
who are single when it comes to, and without many prospects when it comes to Black women. But women of other races are snatching up Black men. And the data proves that. There are more married Black men, percentage of Black men married than there are Black women.
Mm-hmm. Wow. How do you I'm gonna come back to that one. But Tranquil made a very good comment. The reality TV impacts as well. Our lenses are not focused on reality. Go into that a little bit more. Expound on that. What's your thoughts?
Well, the thing is that far too often our people behave as if they are tabula rasa, which is a Latin term of blank slate,
Mm-hmm.
where something is just going to be written down upon your character, your subset of behaviors, what you consider to be appropriate or inappropriate. And there is a stereotype of how Black people are. Let's just be honest. And within that stereotype are, for some segments of our population, some elements of truth. So the loudness, the over the topness, just acting a fool, that becomes in time what it's like and what it means to be Black.
Mm.
I'm reminded of a brother his name actually eludes me. His name doesn't even matter. We're from the same hometown. And when Menace to Society came out, the brother went out and bought a green 5.0, put some Daytons on it, and played Computer Love all summer, as if he had channeled the spirit of Cain. I can remember Boys in the Hood, where some of the brothers that I knew, they went out and got pacifiers and sucked on the pacifiers because one of the characters in that movie, so it's the same thing. You see people adopting, and I think that the good Lord would refer to it as idolatry, that you have patterned yourself after these people who are exhibiting these characteristics that are deplorable and not reflective of how Black folk have ever lived or ever felt or ever acted for one moment of their lives. But when you aren't grounded in anything, you can be swayed by just about anything. So what we're seeing often is one of the reasons why I watch YouTube, these little shorts and things like that. Corey Holcomb and his analysis of the world. One of the reasons I do that is to remain abreast of what is happening in circles that I'm not involved in. Because my fear is, if I don't do that, I am going to believe that Black folk have lost their minds. And I won't understand where this is coming from. So a lot of this is social media. And when you really think about it, when you're talking about art, the greatest art depicts life. But I think that what we've seen for the last 30 years, if not the last 40 years, going all the way back to Boys in the Hood, to Menace to Society, I think that what we're now seeing is that life is patterning itself off of art, even bad art, something that was created in some movie director's office. We begin to act as if that's real, and I'll end with this. I had a young man who took a class from me in the summer, and you want to talk about OG, double OG, triple OG, that was him. This brother arrives in class. He got a red and a blue flag in his back pocket. I'm like, yo, you crippin' and blooding, bro. Hey, brother, I had never seen that before. Got a do-rag on, got this and that. He looked the part, right? Now, the problem with that is quite simply that this brother, and you just tell me if this sounds like a area where people would where there's a hood at. Okay. The
Mhm.
area of city that he lived in is called Katy.
Mm.
Katy. Katy. Come on. We ain't talking about the fifth ward. We ain't talking about the third ward. We talking
Mm.
about Katy. Okay.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And I said to him, I said, yeah. They out there banging in Katy. And he said, yeah, Doc, it get real. It get real out there in Katy. You just don't know. So
Mm. Mm.
unfortunately, the young man ends up his financial aid fell through or something like that,
Mm.
and he sent me. He took the time to give me a card. He slid it under my door. So I go into my office and there's this card. So I pick up the card, don't know where it's from, and it was from him. And he explained that his financial aid had fallen through somehow, and that he really enjoyed what he had experienced the days that he had been in there in my class.
Mm.
And he ended it with, and this is why it's so memorable to me. He ended it with P.S. Doc, if I ever catch you out in the streets of Katy, it's going down. And so, the brother is in many ways, perpetrating a fraud. And I'm like, there's a patterning after a reinventing that those who are suffering from what we could call the imposter syndrome go through.
Mm.
That they want to be black. And some of the kids, like in that same class, I had a young man from he's a Fry Road Crip. Yeah. Um, there was a young man who was from the Fofo, Acres
Mhm.
Homes, which is a historic black area that's got some real rough parts, right? You would have switched those two with the way they presented themselves. And the brother from the
Mm.
Fofo he was like, no, man, I'm here to get an education, so I don't have to go back to Acres
Mm.
Homes with nothing.
Mm.
So I think that's a lot of what we see from these
Mhm.
sisters who who are reinventing themselves. Just this week in class, I had my students introduce. This is our first week of class. I had my students introduce themselves, and you have. I asked them. Usually, I say, what's your favorite book? So many of them have never read a book all the way through. They don't have a favorite book or author. So I give them something else. Who's your favorite hero or shero? Young lady said that her, and I had never heard this before.
Mhm.
Okay. What's the brother's name? Was the head of the Southern Baptist Convention, Hosea Williams.
Okay.
Okay. She said that Hosea Williams was her hero. And I was like, I've heard King, I've heard Roosevelt, I've heard Malcolm, never Hosea Williams.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. Why? She said, because he's the grandfather of Portia Williams, who's my favorite character on The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Wow.
And I'm like, all the civil rights activism, all the preaching, all the leading of the Baptist Convention,
Mm.
and you say that his most important contribution was the creation of his granddaughter, who acts
Mm. Mm. Mm.
on reality television.
Wow.
So we're dealing with a situation of tabula rasa, the blank slates, and these people are outrageous, over the top, and there just comes a moment where I think you forget who you are,
Mm.
and it's going to take life to remind them of who they were, but in addition to being reminded of who they were, they're going to be shown what their life status is now. And their life status is nowhere near what they had ever imagined for themselves. But there is no reset button. Like on a video game, there's no reset button on life. So I think social media has a lot to do with it, brother.
Doc, do you think that the black woman compares the black man to the white man as far as this is the example of a man, this is the example of a successful man? And if they do make that comparison, is that a fair comparison?
Not only do they make that comparison, but black men make that comparison as well. When you see black men talking about, when they're being braggadocious and talking about what they have and what they, the early, and you have to remember that this dates all the way back to slavery, and especially to the period, the post-emancipation period, where black men are recognizing manhood through the operations and maneuvers of white men. It's in many ways the only template that they're going to have. When you look at some of the diaries of plantation owners, these guys that own thousands of acres of land, they almost to a person had the same complaint in the post-slavery period. And it is that black men are refusing to allow their wives to work in the field. And they have the audacity to tell these white men, well, your wife don't work in the field, so why should my wife work in the field? So in many ways, the idea of being a provider and a protector is hailing directly from the white community. And now, is that unfair for black men and black women to compare black men to white men? Certainly it is. You have a completely different set of circumstances. You're not inheriting anything. You're starting from ground zero.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to. One of my friends, he said that it really dawned upon him the extreme disadvantage that he was at when he and his wife were closing on a home, and they wanted their mortgage to be at a certain level, and they needed to put down something like $80,000 get it to that level, and said that the loan officer looked him in the face and said, well, don't you think that your parents would be able to give you that money? Is going towards your house?
Wow.
He said, man, my parents probably don't make $80,000 in 3 years. And they got to live off of that $80,000. So in many ways, you're looking at comparing men who are behind the 8 ball, but are still achieving, because the majority of black men are single and in the middle class. Which is a miraculous situation for one to really consider. But the harsh reality is that ain't enough. That's not enough for greedy, hyper consumer black women. And I think that we need to talk about it, that when we're talking about those types of women, we're talking about an elite percentage of women who are just really in many ways out of their minds and don't understand what it is they're saying. There was a time when sisters were talking about, well, he got to make 6 figures.
Right.
Black barely making over 50,000. Now I'm hearing sisters talking about, no, he gonna need to make 300 to 450,000. Do you know what kind of money that is? Unless the brother is in a league of some kind, NBA, MLB, NFL, that type of money is monstrous. You wouldn't know what to do with that kind of money. And if you're talking about getting with a brother who, and this is how illogical the thinking is that they want a man with that kind of money so that they can go on trips and luxury vacations. And you'll hear them say this. Well, he needs to be able to keep up with me and be able to go whenever I want to go. Who's
Exactly.
making $300,000, $400,000 is able to lead a business and go off to Bora Bora with your silly ass?
Exactly.
Nobody. So a lot of it is cosplaying, is make believe, is outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is that bill will come due.
Mm-hmm.
And when that bill comes due, you're gonna be stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people out here who are stuck, and people rarely talk about the stuckness. They rarely talk about that. My sister has a very good friend who does these women's empowerments. You know, they're real. You know, believe it or not, I'm from churchy people. Okay, who believe that, you know, just pray about it and this and that. Do not judge me, because I am not like them. Okay, I'm a person that believes that, you know, not that miracles can't happen, but I done prayed to the Lord about getting me that Powerball money, and He ain't interceded for me yet. Okay, they ain't even got to be 100 million. Just let your boy get something so he can get his feet underneath him real good. Okay, but my sister's friend is putting together this program, and she had a one sister that she had seen on the internet who you know is doing it. You know, this sister is, you know, impressive. So she was able to get in contact with her and invited her to be the keynote speaker at her event.
Mm-hmm.
And the sister told her, said, you know, right now is not a good time. You know, she said, I'm homeless.
Wow.
You know, I'm actually couch surfing. And this is a woman who every day is putting up pictures of her on flights, on, you know, designer clothes, designer bags, and things like that. Home, all of it perpetrating a fraud. And that's the dishonesty. And the thing is that misery has a way of making you think you the only one.
Mm-hmm.
And that intensifies the misery that you're going through. So quit fronting and tell the truth.
Right.
About the underside of that, of how you lost what little bit that you had.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? What do you know? How do you handle that type of thing? So I think all those things are in play, to be honest with you.
Wow. All right, we're gonna go to our first video and check this out. So
From one, ain't nobody trying to be no damn William Cartwright, you understand?
Don't do with your broke ass.
That's your broke ass trick.
You go to hell.
But man, this is my wife you talking to. I mean,
All that money you stole from me was given to me by William.
why would he give you so much money? Oh, this.
Because he's my man, Chris. Hard like that.
You've been making me feel like the whole time that this is my fault. That I'm the one that's crazy. And you've been doing this the whole while.
You know what? Keep that money. There's plenty more where that came from. You know what? Here's for some more. You go buy yourself some boxes and get your stuff out of my house.
5 years we've been married and you talk to me like that. Now we got a son. What are you gonna tell him, huh?
My son is Cartwright. You and this loser will never be William Cartwright.
From one, ain't nobody trying to be no damn William Cartwright, you understand?
Don't do with your broke ass.
That's your broke ass trick.
You go to hell.
But man, this is my wife you talking to. I mean,
All that money you stole from me was given to me by William.
why would he give you so much money? Oh, this.
Because he's my man, Chris. Hard like that.
You've been making me feel like the whole time that this is my fault. I'm the one that's crazy. And you've been doing this a whole while.
You know what? Keep that money. There's plenty more where that came from. Dax, you know what? Here's for some more. You go buy yourself some boxes and get your stuff out of my house.
5 years we've been married and you talk to me like that. Now we got a son. What are you gonna tell him, huh?
My son is Cartwright.
All right. So that's from one of Tyler Perry movies.
The Family That Prays.
Exactly. Exactly. So what's your thoughts?
Wait, well, before you go there,
Okay.
you know, that brother Rockman Dunbar,
Mm-hmm.
he was engaged to my cousin. I met that brother at a wedding. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, and I tried to holler at the brother about, sliding me a little work here and there, and he go act like he don't know what I'm talking about. So I look at that kind of what, he kind of got what he deserved. He he could have looked out for me.
Wow.
That's karma that came back to him right there. Kind of made me want to cheer and say, tell him, sister, let him know. Let him know. He should have looked out for the black man. That's what you get.
But in that movie, he played a real decent black guy, trying to do what's right, raise his family, go into business, trying to make something of himself, trying to make his wife proud. But the whole time he didn't see what his wife was actually doing. And then as we saw, she gets smacked. And then the real kicker is that's not even your son. That's not even your child.
Woo! Woo!
And that's tearing down a whole man's world when you do that. Now, that was just in play, but there are several YouTube videos of men coming home that went and got this damn DNA test and the child is not theirs. And it's like damn near a pandemic that these men are finding that these damn children is not their children.
Certainly.
It goes back to what Twin talked about with the morality.
Mm-hmm.
They're quick to say throw out toxic manhood, but there's a problem of morality with the black woman as well.
Certainly.
Now,
I mean, if you're raised within chaos, okay,
mm-hmm.
and there's always something going on. There's never a normal dull day. Okay, somebody going to jail, somebody got jumped on, something, always, every day. Even if nothing from outside the house happened, y'all got into it about housekeeping, about somebody ate the last piece of chicken. There's something every day. You are addicted to drama. So now, when you come across somebody who, is stable, normal, what he wants to do every day is make it home. And once he enters that house, he wants peace. He's boring. Because he can't feed their chaos. I can tell you just from me personally, I remember dating a sister who was, she was probably about 5-6 years older than me. I was in my early 40s, and we're having this conversation, and she says, she takes this deep breath, and she says, my girlfriends are gonna kick my ass for this. And I said, I already know what you finna say. You don't want to do this, do you? She was like, nah. And so she said, but I think you deserve an explanation. I was like, not really. I said, but if you need to get something off your chest, go ahead. She says, when I get off work and I come home, she said, sometimes I want to smoke a blunt on my porch. And I know you don't do nothing like that. She said, and then there are other times when I ain't gonna even lie. I like to have a N-word choke me sometime, just fight me. And I know you don't roll like that. And this is a woman that was approaching 50. Okay. Professional business owner, all of that. And it goes all the way back to what's familiar to you. What home were you raised in? You wonder why so many sisters are, to use the stereotypical derisive name of Pookie and Ray Ray, why so many of them are having children by Pookie and Ray Ray? Because Pookie and Ray Ray's daddy and uncle was knocking their mama down. And that's what they're accustomed to. That's what manhood looks like. A man who can come through whatever, blah 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 blah. And then when he gone and you ain't seen him for he ain't shit and blah blah. They're used to that. Okay. And despite what people like to deny and say, look at the foundation of the home. It's no guarantee, but it's gonna get you a great measure towards figuring out who this person actually is, what they like, and it's just what it is, and it explains why there are so many Black women who have children by so many multiple men. That's one issue. But then also, when you look at the amount of Black men who are married, okay, and living in the home with their children, and you compare that number with the single Black men, you're left with no other logical conclusion than Black women are having, because something like 75% to 80% of Black men, are either married and living with their children or don't have children at all. So Black women are having children with a small subset of Black men. Now the question, and let's be honest about this. We ain't talking about brothers who are necessarily Rhodes Scholars either.
Right.
So don't try and tell me that he ran no good game on you. No, he ain't run no good game on you. He reminded you of the men that your mom used to deal with. Okay, he dresses a certain way, he acts a certain way, and if a brother ain't hitting on those things for you, they could in many ways care less about how much money he got, because he's never gonna get them moist. Now they'll get with him, so that they can try to exhaust and extract whatever they want to monetarily from them, from this guy. But they're gonna still be messing with Pookie and Ray Ray on the back end, because that's truly what's familiar to them. And it's one of the consequences of being raised up within dysfunctionality and chaos. That's how you live life, even though it is damaging to your soul and to your mind, to your mental health. But that's how you live life. These are the types of things that happen in life. It's nothing for a woman to stab a man and they back together as soon as he get out the hospital. That's normal for you.
Wow. We're going to move on to our second video and come back and talk about it.
And before you go, let me say this last thing. Sisters are always talking about dating out, going to the white man. Okay. The data proves that white men are not marrying Black women in any significant number. That's number one. Number two, I want to issue this cautionary warning because I love Black women. Mr. Cartwright will kill you.
You say that again.
He will kill you. Okay. And he will rest well at night, and he will do 5 years probation. 2 of them be house arrest. And you in the grave. Go on over there with that stuff. Go on over there.
Exactly. All right, let's check this out.
Why I couldn't catch a break, Like, why the good people always have to suffer so much? Like, I suffer with why my dad couldn't love me correctly, so that the first man that I ever fell in love with wasn't a pimp that almost took my life. I struggle with why, like, just why, like, why, like, why? I struggle. And it's not just like it's all God's fault. I, I like, I resent myself, bro. I like resent myself. I don't even look at myself in the mirror anymore. One minute I'm a paramedic, then I'm a nurse, then the next minute I'm just a homeless person. Just a homeless person. Like, why? Why I never had the right support system. Why everyone left? Why everyone left? God, you stripped me from everyone, everything. I sat in it. I sat in it. I still talked to you. I still prayed. I still asked for your help. And you left me there. You left me there. I struggle with that. I don't know who I am anymore. But I do know that my sons have a chance. And like, that's the only thing I have going right now, is what I feel like. I'm here doing YouTube and I'm here doing TikToks as an outlet for me, because when it was you, I don't know. I struggle. I struggle. And I don't know how to come back from it. But I love you, Lord. And I'm trying. And if you could let me have a little bit of sleep, I would appreciate it. I'm just out here at this point. I had to get my crying out, but look how beautiful the sky looks. I don't know if they have rainbows here, but maybe God put that there for me to know that He loves me and that we're going to be okay. You think? I don't know, but I feel like that's my little rainbow.
All right. So here we have the sister, and she has two sons. And this is the first video on her that we're going to talk about, because I think this is the genesis of the pain that we're going to get even deeper into. As you heard her, doc, she said, she starts out with, she doesn't know why her dad couldn't love her correctly. And because her daddy didn't love her correctly, she fell in love with a pimp who almost killed her. How do you assess that? Is there no personal responsibility? And I know you had just got finished saying whatever you see at home, but we don't know, what she means when, according to her, that her dad couldn't love her correctly.
I mean, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's just different flavors of dysfunction that she emanates from. The idea of whatever she was needing or feeling that she was in need of, she didn't receive it at home, and that can come in a host of, what was it, Baskin Robbins? It had all those different flavors of ice cream that one could consume. So it really doesn't, the detail of that really doesn't matter. However, this is a classic moment of, if she had a physical cut to her body that was bleeding that way, she would have went to the ER to have that addressed. She's in many ways bleeding emotionally, and has been bleeding probably for 20, if not 30 years now. There comes a moment where one needs to go and get some mental health services. because without getting those mental health services, you're going to bleed on everybody that's around you. And your bleeding is definitely teaching your sons what life is like. And you talk about them having a chance, an opportunity. I'm not going to say they don't have, I'm not God. But at the same time, look at the framework, look at the guardrails that you're putting on their lives as far as positive things, and how open it is for any negative thought or negative things to enter into their arena. You're in trouble. And you've been in trouble for a very long time. You've just been able to, by the grace of God, she talks about God abandoning her. No, God has been the one that has kept you lifted up, that has kept you sane through everything that you've been through. But then there is a lack of accountability on her part. She should have stepped up for herself and said, listen, I need some help. Okay. And here you did you not know he was a pimp? I highly doubt that. You knew he was a pimp. You saw the sign, but it was probably the material trappings, the shiny things that led you to being open to being with such a person until that snake turned on you. There comes a moment where you got to save yourself, you know, and if you don't save yourself, if you can't find a way to save yourself, that's what you're getting ready to get. And when you look at people, and we see these people, you know, I'm here in Houston, I see people 40, 50, 60, 70 years old out begging for change at a stoplight. You have agency. Your decisions matter mightily in regards to what it is that you become. And for this sister right here to act like, you know, it's my father's fault. Then I got with this other man and he was a pimp and he almost, sister, where's your responsibility in all of this? And the idea of rationalizing and grabbing these fleeting feel-good moments, that's cool to sort of encourage you for the day, but you need a game plan for life. And without a game plan for life, if you don't choose a path in life, life is going to choose a path for you. And it ain't going to be an enjoyable one. And I yield, brother.
Now, Doc, some women may come across this video and say, yeah, men ain't shit. Black men ain't shit. You know, their daddy wasn't shit. And the man you done found with ain't shit. And it's all your daddy's fault. And they begin to build on and on to that. And pass that down to younger Black women.
Yeah, I mean, the one of my favorite authors of all time is J. California Cooper. And J. California Cooper has this brilliant story that is titled "The Life You Live May Not Be Your Own." And it's about these two women who were best friends in high school, and the one marries a husband who's out cheating, and the friend of his wife, she knows it, but he rushes home and tells her, yeah, I ran into your friend and she said you was a nasty girl when y'all was in school. Filled her head with all these lies so that they wouldn't talk to each other. So when they saw each other, they looked at each other, look at this bitch right here. All, you know, he perfectly planted the seed to keep them from ever. Erykah Badu, that god awful song, Tyrone. Erykah Badu said, that's not my story. He said, I wrote that story off of sitting around a kitchen room table listening to my mother and my aunts talk about the men, the no good men, that the idea of adopting misery, borrowing sorrow from tomorrow, that didn't happen to you. But for you to be included in the club, the disgruntled Black woman's club, you need a story. And if you ain't got a story, you don't really belong. So either fabricate a story or go ahead and go out and live a story. You know, I won't say this person's name because they still are near. They'll always be near and dear to my heart. Okay. But when we decided to end our relationship, she said this to me, and I've never forgotten this. She said, with you, all I've known is the good. I need to go and experience some of the bad so that I can respect the good.
Wow.
Really think about that.
Damn.
Think about that. Yep.
Damn.
And I mean, really, really think about what was just said.
Exactly.
And I'm left with the conclusion of, was she insane? You know, but there was, to be transparent, there was, I was in college, I was cheating. You know, you get what I'm
Right.
saying. I was doing my thing. But
Right.
so I wasn't blameless in the situation. She didn't just pop up and be like, but yeah, that was her statement. She said, with you, all I've known is the good. And I need to go out and find some of the bad, experience some of the bad so I can respect the good. Yeah.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah. So, you're dealing with an idea of a lack of accountability. And nobody, I don't care who they are, me included, it wasn't easy for me to be like, yeah, I was cheating. Okay. Nobody wants to be the villain of their own story.
Right.
So you're gonna come up with some twists and turns to sort of wiggle your way out of that straight jacket of accountability. But
right.
If you're honest with yourself, you had a role to play in that, if not the primary role.
Right. Exactly. Doc, she also talked about, she said, God, you took everybody from me and I sat in it.
That's nigga nonsense right there. That's what that is. That's nigga nonsense. That's an attempt to take accountability. No, that you're just talking. You get what I'm saying? Who are you talking to? Because God is not talking to you. You get what I'm saying? God ain't talking to you. Your choices had consequences, and that's what you're sitting in.
Exactly.
Okay, you're sitting in the fact that you got involved with a pimp. I guarantee you that some of the people who were around there were like, girl, I ain't going over there messing with that mess. He'll put an Aaron Hall whooping on you. Okay. Yeah, took everybody away from you. People made strategic decisions that you're not at this point somebody that I want in my life. God ain't got nothing to do with that. God is, there comes a moment where people say, you know what? Nah, I'm good. Because they see what you have allowed your life to devolve into. You're not on the upswing. What do you have going on? You out here looking for rainbows and ain't no rainbow, and then you can switch it around. Well, maybe God just wanted me. No, you done went insane. Time to go talk to somebody. And you need to go talk to somebody with some degrees on the wall and no common DNA between you two. And make sure they got a couch.
Now, when she says that she can't even look in the mirror because she can't recognize herself, and mind you, now while she's saying this, she's a mother of 2 sons.
That she's damaging at every moment.
And that's what my question is: if she can't see herself, if she can't even look in the mirror to look at herself, how in the hell can she see her sons? How can she even really be a mother to her sons?
Do you know how irritable she must be? How volatile she must be? Anything sets her off. Even when there's nothing there, when there's just a thought that comes. And who's going to receive the brunt of that? Her boys.
Exactly.
Being damaged, incident after incident after incident after incident. Okay. And so when they get their own family, if they're so blessed to have a family, the mere thought of what they went through will cause probably a seething anger that may cause them to just punch their wife in the eye. I don't know why, I don't know why I did that, baby, blah, blah. Because you need counseling too. because you've been damaged. And the unfortunate thing is that we're seeing so many people who are damaged so early in life that their very foundation and understanding of what being civil, being cooperative has never existed. These are not even people that, how we talk about prisons and we talk about the rehabilitation process. Well, these people have never been habilitated. They've never been taught how to live a normal life. And you're going to try to teach them that on the fly in their 20s and 30s with bills on top of them, with food insecurity, shaky employment. Nah, it ain't gonna work.
Wow. So we're going to look at another video where she was having a conversation with her son, with her oldest son. Now they left America. They left America to go live with her mama in the islands, and I believe it's Jamaica, where they wound up living, because she fell on hard times, couldn't keep a job, and all of this.
And you fell on hard times and went to Jamaica? Woo. That was not a wise decision right there.
Okay, so let's see.
I have no privacy, no space, no anything.
I know it is small here, and we're all cramped up on each other. And I'm working towards figuring out how to get us more space.
Mom, I understand that. I know you are, Mom. I know you.
I'm gonna get a job. Mom, you're gonna get a job. Between the two of us, we can get something great somewhere soon enough. Your brother needs you. Jid, the only reason you're feeling like you're feeling is because you're going through detox. Yesterday, I cried so much because I haven't drank any coffee. I haven't smoked. I haven't had liquor. Like, it was building on me, and I was, like, overwhelmed. But I realized I'm going through detox right now, and it's going to feel like that. I don't know if you've ever seen someone that's trying to wean off of certain things. Mm-hmm. It's ugly. It gets ugly. So what you're saying to me sounds normal. You feel like you're losing it. But Jay, and give it a week or two, it'll feel so much better. Like it'll start leaving your system. We can get you a gym membership, go to the beach, work on your body, get yourself right. Why don't you want these things for yourself? I'm not
gaining anything from this though.
Jaden, it's been 4 days. What are you expecting to gain? Right now, all we're doing is detoxing. I'm detoxing, you're detoxing, Dylan's detoxing, TT Aria's about to start detoxing. Like, we just need time.
Mom, I think it's detox.
Jay, you've been smoking for a long time. It's become a part of your norm. You need to give this time. Please give this time. Our dates to leave was already supposed to be for next month. Your brother is about to be 15 next month. You don't think you want to go out on the town and have his best friend with him? Like, are you thinking about him at all? You want to go back to BAM and the girls.
That's what you think. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has something to do with my pride. I'm tired of hearing certain stuff, Mom.
And so then make it for yourself, okay, right? Wherever you are. It don't have to be in.
I have nothing here. I have nothing here.
Jaden, when you say nothing, you're saying girls, money. So what do you mean nothing? We can go out and look for jobs today if that's what you want to do. If that's what you want to do, we can go out and look for jobs today. Is that what you want? So you can start feeling. I just told you, Mima wants to get certain projects done and she's willing to pay for it. You want some money so you can have your own. I get that, son. I raised you to be a man. I want you to always stand 10 toes down.
Crazy here. I'm gonna go crazy.
You're not?
I have no privacy, no space, no anything.
I know it is small here, but we're all cramped up on each other. And I'm working towards figuring out how to get us more space.
And I understand that. I know you are, Mom. I know you.
I'm gonna get a job. Mom, you're gonna get a job. Between the two of us, we can get something great somewhere soon enough. Your brother needs you. Jid, the only reason you're feeling like you're feeling is because you're going through detox. Yesterday, I cried so much because I haven't drank any coffee. I haven't smoked. I haven't had liquor. Like it was building on me and I was like overwhelmed. But I realized I'm going through detox right now and it's going to feel like that. I don't know if you've ever seen someone that's trying to wean off of certain things. Mm-hmm. It's ugly. It gets ugly. So what you're saying to me sounds normal. You feel like you're losing it. But Jay, and give it a week or two, it'll feel so much better. Like it'll start leaving your system. We can get you a gym membership, go to the beach, work on your body, get yourself right. Why don't you want these things for yourself?
Yeah.
I'm
not gaining anything from this though.
Jaden, it's been 4 days. What are you expecting to gain? Right now, all we're doing is detoxing. I'm detoxing, you're detoxing, Dylan's detoxing, TT Ariel's about to start detoxing. Like, we just need time. Jay, you've been smoking for a long time. It's become a part of your norm. You need to give this time. Please give this time. Our dates to leave was already supposed to be for next month. Your brother is about to be 15 next month. You don't think you want to go out on the town and have his best friend with him? Like, are you thinking about him at all? You want to go back to BAM and the girls.
That's what you think. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has something to do with my pride. I'm tired of hearing certain stuff, Mom.
And so then make it for yourself, right? Wherever you are. It don't have to be in.
I have nothing here. I have nothing here.
Jaden, when you say nothing, you're saying girls, money. So what do you mean nothing? We can go out and look for jobs today if that's what you want to do. If that's what you want to do, we can go out and look for jobs today. Is that what you want? So you can start feeling. I just told you, Mima wants to get certain projects done and she's willing to pay for it. You want some money so you can have your own. I get that, son. I raised you to be a man. I want you to always stand 10 toes down.
All right. So there she go. Now, again, they're living now in Jamaica in a 1-bedroom home with her mama. So it's her mama, and her grandmama. They got the 1-bedroom that all three of them women sleeping in the bedroom, and the boys are out there sleeping on the floor in the living room. Mm-hmm. She was talking to her oldest son, Jaden, and he's between 17 or 18. Jaden's ready to come back to America into an environment that he's used to being. And she's no. You got to detox from smoking. I got to detox from drinking, smoking, the whole list. What's your thoughts of what you just heard, Doc?
Multi-generational dysfunction and a desperate attempt to cope with life. And that desperate attempt to cope with life has led them down. They become addicts of one level or another. Either, the weed, the alcohol, the emotionalism, and what have you. And you're in many ways talking about a tragedy, where you've had to go to Jamaica, one of the poorest regions in the Western Hemisphere, to try to get yourself together financially. There are people in Jamaica who work full time who can't make it. Their money is flowing almost exclusively off of the tourist industry. That was not a good move economically, which lets me know how desperate they actually are, that she is. But the very things that we knew without knowing all the particulars of the situation is quite simply that the damage that she had, the wreck that she made of her life has seeped over and bled over onto her children. So now her son is probably approaching a point of no return, emotionally, mentally. He has no foundation, no sturdy foundation. And one of the more peculiar comments was, your brother's about to be 15.
Right.
Don't you don't you want to go out on the town with him and blah? So don't you want to go get drunk and high and party and things with him? And nobody around there got a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's the recipe for disaster, and there's so much that can be said. I mean, is this the son of the pimp?
Good question.
Is this the, because, nature versus nurture, maybe he has a leaning and a proclivity towards addiction. I come from, and I've spoken about this often, I come from a family of addicts, IV drug users on my mother's side and alcoholics on my father's side. My mother explained that to me early on and told me to proceed cautiously. I've never had a drink of alcohol or done any drugs ever in my life. It scares me because I don't believe that I'm stronger than my uncles who succumb to drug overdoses and what have you. So, there are a lot of dangers and pitfalls for poor and working class people, regardless of race. Okay. It's a lot of them. And when you have a situation where you have a young man who was basically incubated in turmoil because the stress that she went through while she was carrying him, he felt that. It's encoded in his DNA. Could that be the explanation why he addicted to weed? He's trying to find an escape? Is he feeling that God, not that God left him, but that God has never been with him? Because he's never known a peace of stability. And he would rather go back to America with no parents, with no money, with no job prospects, what have you, to try and make it there than to remain laying on the floor, trying to eat together, doing odd jobs and side jobs. It's the hell of an existence, and to sort of remember her first video where she was saying, well, my boys, they're going to be all right. They're not all right already.
Exactly.
And this is in many ways the backdrop and the background to how we see a drug addicted mother and two sons who are in and out of prison their entire lives, or some mental health facility and what have you. This is how that happens. And I yield, brother.
Wow. Doc, one thing that stood out to me that I heard the son say, he said, my pride, won't let him be in this condition. He wants more. He wants to get out there and do it. But she's not allowing him to get out there and do it. Do you think she realized the destruction of what she's doing? Do you think she's conscious? Hey, look, you're destroying this man. You're destroying this boy who needs to be out there.
No, her needs supersede his. She needs him there. He is in many ways the personification in her mind of a son husband. You heard her say, me and you both working.
Right.
We can get something really nice.
Right. I was like, what?
So she has damaged his past, is attempting to hijack his present and control his future. You go get a job, and we'll combine that with my job, and we'll be able to get at least a 2-bedroom, so y'all won't be on the floor. Y'all be two grown men living in a bedroom together.
Mm. Mm.
And that is, in many ways, for her, a step up, a significant step up. And she will have, in every way, the opportunity to come out and say, well, you know, the Lord carried me through. We got by, and listen, it'll be more rationalization. That's not his dream. That's not his desire. That's not what he has inside of him. But she's going to, she needs him. And this is how I can almost guarantee you that she would express it. She doesn't want him and his brother to leave her like everybody else left. So she's going to do each and everything that is in her ability, in her power, to keep him from leaving. Even if it means suffering needlessly. If that's what I need to go through to keep from being left by even my children, I'll do it. They are for, unless she gets some significant mental health help, they're doomed. They're doomed. And the son, you can hear that he needs some mental health services. You can already hear it. You can already see it. You know, and the most difficult thing that is going to occur is quite simply, for those who have pride and strive for something better, they run the risk of becoming so frustrated with life because they're constantly trying and they're trying and they're trying, and they may not be getting anywhere, but they want to keep trying and try until they get burned out. And once they get burned out, I mean, he's already turned on the weed. What's next? What follows that? And the entire time, you know, much of it could have been mitigated if he had just been given the opportunity to go and talk to somebody. But she's not at a place where even she can't slow down her own world to go and talk to somebody. She thinks that just going to get a job and y'all combine your incomes, y'all get a better place. Oh yeah, now we on our way. You're in Jamaica. You know, to really make it in a third world country, what are you gonna have to do?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, realistically speaking, what's the path forward economically? And it's got to be involved with the illicit drug trade.
Wow. You know, some would say, Doc, that she was validating his feelings by her kept saying, I know, I know, I know, I know. Saying that she heard him, she validated him by kept saying, I know, I know, I know. But I don't think she actually heard what the boy was saying. I don't get it. I don't get it, because there were points where he was making, I want to go do this, I want to go do that, or I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing. And she was like, well, you mean you don't have girls, you don't have this, you don't have. She's interpreting what he's saying, but not taking what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? She's not listening. I don't think she's not.
She can't listen. You know, a part of the listening process, you follow pleadings or requests with an action. She has no actions. She has no moves. So regardless of, and this ain't the first conversation they've had like that. He's exasperated. He's tired. You know, and the next thing is, why am I even talking to you? That's going to be the internal thought. And then he's going to start verbalizing that. And I can see her reacting by saying, I'm still your mama, and you don't disrespect me like that, and blah. It's a predictable circus with clowns and all.
Exactly.
She's damaged, if not ruined, that boy. All under the guise of, well, I didn't protected mine. We had nothing, and Look at what you've done. Look at what you've done. You know, your son, his plight reminds me of that great moment when James Baldwin was talking on some talk show, and he said that he went to Paris with no money. He said he didn't have a cent to his name, and he said, but he was assured that nothing worse could happen to him in Paris with no money than what had already occurred to him in America. That's what her son is saying. Because what's worse than this? You know, if I go back to the States and I get a job at Pizza Hut and do couch surfing, that's living better than this. Because I don't care if it's take every cent I got, at least I'll be able to get me an apartment and have some utilities and some room, some privacy. Room to, as Najee would put it, room to breathe.
Wow. Now, also, Tranquil says that, and he's going to say all Black women are like this. What's your thoughts on that? Will he label the rest of Black women because this is what his mother put him through?
You know, I can't predict the future, but if I was going to place a bet, I would say yes. I know a lot of brothers who refuse to deal with sisters, even consider them for a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship because of the way their mother behaved and acted. And, you know, one could argue that they have PTSD. You'll find a lot of Black women and that can't draw that connection between their sons loving white women, marrying white women. They can't see that as a reflection upon them, a repudiation of them. You know, and it's, you know, I'm reminded of a story a sister talked about being in a barbershop, seeing a young brother who was come home from college and was going to get married, but he was marrying a white girl. And he began to break down how his experience with the women in his family, and how even at a mere barbecue, there's got to be some fighting, some disrespect and those types of things. So he went to the other side, place where he said they actually have a family. They get together and they have good times with each other, this and that. This is probably one of the central themes that I've developed about Black folk. It's quite simply that everything is much more difficult when you're Black. I don't care if you're talking about getting a mortgage or finding somebody to love. Somehow Blackness problematizes that for whatever reason. And we're at a point where, let's be clear about this, a significant portion of Black folk have gone crazy. And especially Black women. I think that Black women, because Black women are more likely to talk about it and to be boastful about it, they become sort of the center of what we say is wrong with Black America, but there are Black men who belong there in that conversation as well. But there's another part of Black America that wants nothing to do with that part of Black America. Nothing at all.
Wow. That's not good. That is not good. Doc, when he says that he doesn't, I don't have nothing here, do you think that also reflects his feeling that he's lost everything that defined his life before? He has no roots. He's lost even.
I mean, we would need to know what it is he had back there. And if I had to argue, because we know it's not a material existence, it's not money, it's not, you know, it's not a car, it's not any of those things. More than likely, because she mentions girls, it's a human connection. He doesn't have a single human connection to anyone around him right now. including his brother and his mother. He is alone, as alone can possibly get. He's got people around him. He's overcrowded with people on top of him, and he's still alone. There's a level of, for some people, there's a level of isolation, of space that they need to be able to come into a room with other people and connect with them. Otherwise, you just feel numb. And that's what I would imagine that brother is feeling right now. And so what he's going to do is he's going to do everything in his power to get back to that human connection that he had.
Do you think that women understand the damage that they're doing to their boys?
The ones that are doing it, no. Because their needs and their interests supersede their children. They love themselves much more than they love their children. It's just what it is. I mean, it's the exact same phenomenon. We often talk about Black women. It's the same phenomenon with some Black men who are promiscuous, hypersexual, and all they're trying to do is get a nut. And that pursuit of that nut supersedes any concern whatsoever for their children, for the children that their seed produces. They're not really their children. They're selfish, self-interested, self-centered people. And they come in the form of Black men and Black women. But these Black women, what they're in many ways trying to do is they're trying to replicate what they saw before. And what they saw before was their mother having a host of different men coming in and out of the house, okay, raising their daughters, making sure that you're going to take care of yourself, girl, blah, blah, blah. And at the exact same time, babying and coddling their sons. You have to remember that the role of a woman, of a mother in a boy's life, she's his soft landing spot. The role of the daddy, well, get your ass up and let's get to work. And so what we have now is an imbalance that is manifested in many ways. Mothers are still babying those boys, and there's no man to tell him to get up and to do something. Or she decides, well, I'm gonna have to be the mama and the daddy. Boy, you get your sorry Black ass up and blah, blah, and you emasculate him. And all this time, and we talk about the damage that not having a father is going to do for the boy. Think about what it does for the girl, because she has no understanding, no recognition, no comprehension of what love from a man to a woman looks like. So she's going to go out and find what's familiar, and what's familiar is the sons of Pookie and Ray Ray. They used to come through and beat their moms back out. That's a relationship to her. And after they do that, you just got to understand a man gonna be a man, so you ain't the only one. Don't trip, girl, don't trip. And you have dysfunction on top of dysfunction. You have multi-generational levels of dysfunction. And this is the reality that they live. This is their value system. It's kind of like trying to talk to a young man about his jump shot. They'll tell you, I ain't letting you or nobody else change my jump shot, because that's how they feel that it should go. They're incorrectable. Try to not just chastise the woman about how she's raising her children. Try to correct that child on your own and see what happens.
Damn. All right, we're gonna go to the next video. Doc, before we go to the next video, a question just popped in my head. Prior to this, we can go, rewind time. And you were able to tell her, do not go to Jamaica because you're going to face A, B, C, D, and E. what do you think that she would actually listen? Do you think that she would actually put her boys before her own selfish needs?
No, she can't. She
Mm,
can't. She's been in her mind, she's been in survival mode for herself for so long. And she has linked up what is best for her is best for her boys as well.
mm,
And because she has failed to really understand that she lives in a material universe where, and you know, like I said, I was raised with churchy people.
mhm.
Okay. One of my sister's favorite sayings is, "Oh, it's just all a test." And depending on how you do with that test, that determine if you're gonna go through it again. It's all a test. I don't believe that shit. Not at all. I operate from the position of Negro. If you don't get your ass up and go to work, you are not gonna get paid. And when you don't get paid, they gonna turn your phone, your internet access, your water, and your electricity off. I
Mhm,
don't care, you know, and I believe in the true and living God. I believe he is a miracle worker. But
mhm,
I think that, you know, they done put some codes in the programming that he don't know, and he can't go in there and intercede and wipe out my balance to zero.
mm,
So
mm,
the material world that we actually live in is the one that you got to deal with.
mhm,
Okay. And in a nation that has so many quote unquote mental
mm,
health services for the poor, you have welfare, you have SNAP, you got all these job training places and what have you. She's got to do something to break the path that she's on. This idea of walking along the beach and looking at, you know, oh, for inspiration from nature, you need to
mhm,
get your black self onto a job.
mhm,
And once you get paid, you need to go ahead and build upon that check with another check, with another check, with another check. Life can be great. Chris Rock said it this way. He said, you know, people say life is short. He said, make some bad decisions. Life can be long and hard. And
mhm,
that's where she's at. And then
mhm,
when you add into it onto the fact that she more than likely never had life skills to begin with.
mm,
And
mm,
so in many ways, you know, Shahrazad Ali said it this way. She said, we gotta you gotta remember that the average black woman is mentally about 13 years old.
mm.
And when you look at the decision making, the inability to resist impulsive buys, that bears out. So really you're looking at a child, okay, who's old enough to drink and smoke, but has never developed any of the skills necessary to build an adult life, to build a life worth living, let alone being able to guide
Mm,
two boys.
mm,
That is disaster. And
mhm,
you've created your living hell, and you have bequeathed a hard knock life to your children.
mhm.
And even you know, the thing is she doesn't even realize that. She doesn't recognize it because she's so busy trying to survive to not the next day, but the next moment.
Mm, mm. Tranquil has a great question that I want to let you answer. Says, how do we guide our children to healthy relationships? I hate when people say, I don't date anyone from a broken family. The analysis has to be deeper than that when we select potential partners. But what is the solution? I want better for our children. I want better for my child.
So what's the question?
How do we guide our children to healthy relationships?
I think that we model what we want our children to replicate.
Mm,
That's the key to it. You know, one can sit up and talk about being a I don't know, a plumber all you want
mhm,
to, but until your child sees you actually doing plumbing work, following you to the job and watching and learning that way, they're not really going to, it's not going to take hold. I think relationships are the same. I think that you set up your home life, you set up your family to the best of your ability, okay? And you show them what love feels like. You display and you model that for them, you know, because children are sponges, and they're going to recognize, they're going to notice even the most minute thing. But when they don't have that model, if they can't look at it and understand it and process it as they age, they don't stand a chance, really. And you're really playing a game of Russian roulette. So what is the solution? I think that you model what you want your child to do. So that is what's familiar to them. Just as we're sitting here and we're talking about how, you know, these girls were raised in homes where mama had Pookie and Ray Ray coming through. Model something different so that a person will say, no, that ain't who we are. That ain't what I am. That is so foreign to anything I've ever experienced before in my life.
Definitely. You know, and when you said that, Doc, it brought to mind, I have a cousin who's out there on drugs. And one day she and I was talking, and she was like, "Where are the men like my father? I don't see no man like my father. I haven't met him." And I'm like, "Because you're dealing with niggas. That's why. Your dad is not a nigga. He's a man. But you're not gonna find him doing the shit that you do."
Well, and you can't be who you are right now in his circle. He would not allow you to exist in his circle. He would issue demands that you're not even capable of meeting. You know, you're surrounded by men who may have very similar character traits and qualities as your father, and they bypass you. You ain't even aware that they even evaluated you. That's where they are. They are, you know, you constantly hear, once again, this Christian churchy speak of, well, you know, I guess the Lord is just keeping me hidden right now. No, what the Lord has done is he has blinded you from being able to see the cats that are like your father. And in many ways, what these women are doing is they're creating these fictional, fabricated images of men. Okay. And they're doing it so that no man could ever match what it is that they think that they deserve, or what they express that they desire. And it takes the onus off of them. Because, you know, he ain't gonna be able to boom, he ain't gonna be able to boom, I remember meeting a sister who was like, you know, what I want is I need to find me a man, an educated man, you know, he's got to at least match my degrees and blah blah. And she had a master's, you know. Okay, shit, you got a master's, you know. And she's like, well, what you got? I was like, shit, I got 3 of them and a PhD. And you know, and you're so unappealing to me, you know, that so that the idea that they have it all, and this is probably one of the most significant flaws that I see with sisters. They think they're perfect and they got it all together. No, you don't understand that we settling for you too.
Exactly.
You ain't look here, and then the unmitigated gall, the audacity, damn near the caucasity. Y'all acting like white folk at this moment. To come out and say that you wasn't happy. Do you ever reflect for 1 second the way you act when you ain't happy? And you think that we happy being with your monkey ass? You around here sullen Okay, don't want to talk, all of that bullshit that y'all do.
Right.
But you think that even at your worst, you good enough. The fuck out of here. It's that self-centeredness, that idea, and they believe truly that they are simply they're like a great left tackle. They're like Orlando Pace. You can pick Pace up, you can pick him in the draft. He is plug and play from the first day of preseason camp. He's starting at left tackle. That's who they think they are. No, you are undrafted free agent.
That's right.
That's right. Trying to make the squad. just like we undrafted free agents trying to make the squad. But that's something that people who are full of themselves never think about, never consider. They think that they are the shit. If you smell something funky, it's me because I'm the shit. That's how they behave.
Exactly.
And God bless that sister and her sons, because they're going to need it, because this life is harsh. And one of the most frightening thoughts that just crossed my mind was that if that brother does come back to America and he gets something going, guess who's coming? I am your mama after all, and I'm blah blah.
Exactly. Doc, one more question before I go to the next video. Do you believe his masculinity was under assault when you heard him with his mom going back and forth? Or do you believe that, he was feeling less masculine, less manly?
I don't believe that he has a developed sense of manhood or masculinity. I don't believe that he has that at all. I mean, there's a level of settledness and achievement that one needs to have to have elements of manhood even available to them. This is a boy who is struggling. He's not entered into the realm of manhood yet. He's trying to find himself. He's trying to get some type of stable footing underneath him. In the idea that you gonna. I mean, come on. Let's be honest. Once again, I want to say it was Chris Rock. He said a man can never win an argument with a woman because he's handicapped by logic. You go out, argue, or all out. They gonna wear your ass down over time. And any person who understands their manhood, they and understands the nature of women, they're going to tell you flat out, yeah, yeah, okay, honey, yeah, you right. You're never gonna. They are into submission. So him going back and forth with his mother, if he understood how to do a plan, he would just say to himself, yo, as soon as I can get a ticket up out of here, I'm out of here. Okay. Instead of pleading with her that I need some space, I need this, I need that. All you're doing is worsening and heightening your anxiety, because she can't give that to you. Look at what she had. She has, if you really think about it, she's achieved nothing in her life other than the production of those two boys. If she had never left the kitchen of her mother's home, she would have been better off than she is right now. If she had never engaged the outside world, never worked, never done anything, she would be in a better spot than she is right now, doing nothing. Your life and your life decisions has netted negative results.
Wow. Definitely. All right, let's move on to the last video.
Don't want nobody to tell y'all nothing. You said that's exactly what you said. Y'all quick to ask for some shit. but don't want nobody to tell y'all nothing. You said that. That's exactly what you said. And that's cool. Get the fuck out. The fuck out. You ain't taking shit. You ain't taking shit with you. Ball up your fist to me. It's only so much I'm gonna take from you. If you lose all respect, I will too. I will too. I promise you, you ain't never seen me get down, but you will today. So stop talking to me. I'm making sure I record. I'm making sure I record. So yes, I am talking to you. I'm making sure I record. So we both on the same page. We both on the same page. There'll be no misunderstandings later on when you call in begging for help. I will send these videos back to you.
Like I said, get my flight back.
Like I said, get the fuck on. Get the fuck on. You don't need no help from us. I won't give it to you. You 18, son. I did the best I could. I did the best I could. And you can figure it out from here. You can figure it out from here. You taking too long, sir. Get out in this heat. Get out in this heat. Because you under a roof right now. A roof that I worked hard to make sure that we could be here. Okay? I did that. You didn't ask me, I did. I did. You didn't wake up yesterday and clean up this whole place. I did. For us. You don't appreciate that shit? Get the fuck on. Get the fuck on. She'll be back around 3 p.m. You can knock on the door and you can talk to her from then. But that's it.
Ever since going homeless, Jaden has become so aggressive and angry. For the most part, I try to deal with it. But the amount of mental, physical, everything it took for me to get us out of the country to start fresh, just for me to wake up and see smoking paraphernalia, that's what I say, laying right where he's sleeping in someone else's house. Like, you're disrespecting my mom's house, bro. Like, we don't have to be here. Like, we can be on the streets. Like, you have no respect. And then I'm telling you about it, and you steady, you're not gonna come in my face, and you're not gonna tell me nothing, and get the fuck out my face, and and then you balling up your fist. Yo, I love my kids. I love my kids. I just don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this one, for real. I just don't know.
Y'all teenagers.
I'm gonna let it run again.
For some shit, but don't want nobody to tell y'all nothing. You said that. That's exactly what you said, and that's cool. Get the fuck out. The fuck out. You ain't taking shit. You ain't taking shit with you. Ball up your fist to me. It's only so much I'm gonna take from you. If you lose all respect, I will too. I will too. I promise you, you ain't never seen me get down, but you will today. So stop talking to me. I'm making sure I record. I'm making sure I record. So yes, I am talking to you. I'm making sure I record. So we both on the same page. We both on the same page. There'll be no misunderstandings later on when you call in begging for help. I will send these videos back to you.
Like I said, get my flight back.
Like I said, get the fuck on. Get the fuck on. You don't need no help from us. I won't give it to you. You 18, son. I did the best I could. I did the best I could. And you can figure it out from here. You can figure it out from here. You taking too long, sir. Get out in this heat. Get out in this heat. Because you under a roof right now. A roof that I worked hard to make sure that we could be here. Okay? I did that. You didn't ask me, I did. I did. You didn't wake up yesterday and clean up this whole place. I did. For us. You don't appreciate that shit? Get the fuck on. Get the fuck on. She'll be back around 3 p.m. You can knock on the door and you can talk to her from then. But that's it.
Ever since going homeless, Jaden has become so aggressive and angry. For the most part, I try to deal with it. But the amount of mental, physical, everything it took for me to get us out of the country to start fresh, just for me to wake up and see smoking paraphernalia, that's what I say, laying where he's sleeping in someone else's house. Like, you're disrespecting my mom's house, bro. Like, we don't have to be here. Like, we can be on the streets. Like, you have no respect. And then I'm telling you about it, and you steady, you're not gonna come in my face, and you're not gonna tell me nothing, and get the fuck out my face, and and then you balling up your fist. Yo, I love my kids. I love my kids. But I just don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this one, for real. I just don't know.
All right. That was the last video, and as we see, there was a big time argument. Blow up. Was that predictable, Doc?
Well, certainly. Well, certainly. I mean, you know, if we could, you know, revert back to her childhood, I guarantee you would see the exact same thing. You know, that's probably exactly how she ended up leaving her parents' home. A volatile, you know, breakup, you know, and what have you. You get out there and you see if you can make it. You know, you'll see. And when you contact me because you need some help, she knows all this is coming because that's what she's done. She probably told her mother the exact same thing as she went to get down with the pimp. And her parents probably told her, girl, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know, you can't you see what this man is? Oh, y'all can't tell me nothing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, go on then. Okay. And now she's right back where she started at. The truth of the matter is that this sister, just like so many other sisters that we know and that we've seen, has nothing to offer her child or anyone else. She has nothing to offer them. Not financially, not in regards to wisdom, no type of guidance or what have you. She gave you all that she could give you when she birthed you. That was it. That was all she had within her. She had no wisdom, you know, when she birthed you. And wisdom doesn't just come with age. You know, it's a sad situation because only the Lord knows what's awaiting an 18-year-old in Jamaica, out in that world. She can't even give him a airline ticket to get back to the States to get a shot in whatever city that he's trying to get a shot in. She can't even give you that. And now when you consider her failings as a mother, can you imagine her failings within a romantic relationship? Can you imagine? She's unhinged. She doesn't know how to regulate her emotions at all. And this is supposed to be somebody's mama. This is supposed to be a grown, fully functioning, thinking adult woman who has lived probably 40 years on this earth and hasn't been able to manage to make her way to anything. Not a regular job, not some skills and training, not a roof over her head, even if it's just an apartment, not a car. You know, and her admission of all the things she had to do to be able to get the money to get them back to Jamaica, she out here hoeing. I guarantee it. I mean, come on. She was with a pimp. That ain't no far leap. You know, well, I need to go out here and get it. I know I or at least I can, you know, like Sugar Free said, you know, shout out to Sugar Free. I don't ever want to hear a chick saying that she broke. As long as she got a wet thing and a deep throat. Come on. That's a part of the pimp game. She been exposed to that. Unfortunate, but it's true.
What do you think about her, you know, telling her son not just get out, but get the fuck out?
There's no difference between the two in her world. You know, she's being honest. It reminds me of the speech that Denzel Washington gives in Troy gives in Fences. okay, where his son asked him, says, how come you never liked me?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
and he says, I've given you everything I had to give you. I gave you life. Well, she's the same way. She's
Mm,
given him everything. It's just that her toolbox was empty. She didn't have anything that outside of this emotional love that
mm,
we are famous for. What does love really look like in a household? Love looks like in a household how a roof over your head, some utilities on, some food in the refrigerator. That's love. But she can't give you that. She doesn't know how to.
mm,
Tranquil, that's sugar free. You know,
mm.
if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Mm,
Straight out of Pomona.
wow. Wow. Do you think that this was lack of love, lack of planning, um, lack
It's
of
a,
seeing the
it's not a lack of love.
okay.
It's an inability to provide something tangible, something significant to the emotion of love. She's
Mm,
desirous. She wants to do better for her boys and by her boys,
hmm
but she has nothing to offer. This is a very harsh world, and when people, if children do nothing else, children force you into situations where you got to make a decision, and that decision could be one of, do I get up and go to work this extra shift so that they're able to get school clothes or participate in extracurricular activities, or do I go out and kick it a little bit, blow some steam off? Both of them are going to have some consequences,
mm,
so she loves them. She just has no skills whatsoever. And I would challenge anyone who, who loves their children, get put in this situation. And of course, she's in this situation because of her own inefficiencies and inadequacies and things like that. But that misery that flows from not being able to provide for your children, I'd rather not see them.
mm,
Because if I don't see them, at least the my failings and my failure is not staring me right in my face. The idea that he's got drug paraphernalia around him. Well, I guarantee you that she got liquor bottles somewhere around there. She said that I'm trying to detox too, and that's if it was only if it was only alcohol. More than likely, it might have been crack. You're dealing with
mm,
the pimp game.
mm. Wow. Do you think, or what is the community's role, if they're even possible, of saving this young man or both the boys? Is there a community role in saving them?
There's always you would always hope that there's a community role, but
Hmm
the truth of the matter is that Black community that we remember. Michael Eric Dyson wrote this essay that kind of deals with that says we never were who we used to be. I think that we have romanticized what Black America was like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, to the point where it's become a fabled place. That only if we were back then, we took care of each other. That wasn't necessarily true.
Mm,
You had some of the same shortfalls and dysfunctions and inefficiencies that are happening today back then as well. And a lot of those things are coming because Black folk are fighting to keep them and theirs above water. You're too busy to be really trying to uplift the entire community. Now that boy want to come over here and get a plate, he's more than welcome. If he want to hang around, he's more than welcome. But the idea of us being responsible for what happened to him in the Black utopian Umar Johnson, Ron Shoemate world, yeah, that's the way it goes. But in the world that we're living in now, people are trying to take care of their own stuff. You know, it's unfortunate, but it's the reality of where we are as a people. We're a people who have learned to drown out the hurt, pain, anger, and sorrow that we experience through social media. It's the reason why you have so many videos of somebody just talking about something that they ain't nobody gonna ever care about, but they need to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a lonely world.
Wow. What do you think that the young man's foundation regarding his psychological makeup, his ability to handle future struggles, what would that look like coming from a home like we just watched? What will that look like?
It's going to look like that home. That's what it is. That's what he has been taught. That's what he has been bequeathed. An inability to handle anything that's coming. The best thing that this young man could ever do is join a group like the Nation of Islam that's going to instill in him structure, discipline, what have you. You know, something to reach for, something to strive for. Mm-hmm. You know, something that will in a positive way push him out of his comfort zone. Because the comfort zone that he's in right now, he's never going to be able to escape that. You know, he's looking for a human connection. And when he gets that human connection, let's say it's with a woman who might be a heroin addict, before long, he's going to be participating in that. Because his desire to be loved and to be needed and to be accepted is going to far exceed his interest in building a better life. He's trying to dull the pain in the same way that you saw his mother try to dull the pain. Even if that dulling of the pain comes in a form of turning her children out into the streets.
Wow. Wow. I wish I knew an update to what actually was the end result of that situation, but I don't. But I do, hope that the boys recover, and be able to stand up on their own 2 feet and make a better life for themselves, better decisions.
But see the idea of recovering is sort of like a pulled hamstring. You hope an athlete recovers and is able to run a 4.4 again. What are they recovering from?
They don't like to say it like this, but from a mama who doesn't know how to make good decisions.
Yeah, but I'm saying the idea, what is going to be their base setting? Not making good decisions, wilding out. Then when the police pull you over, you act a fool to the point that you end up in jail. Now you got a felony, further problematizing your life, and that flows from the example that was set by your mama. You ain't seen me get down, but you getting ready to see me get down, blah, blah, blah.
That part.
Yeah. Yeah. So recover to what? These boys are in need of a total reprogramming. Hell, you kind of wish that they end up like Patty Hearst did. Victims of Stockholm syndrome. They just go ahead and hopefully the people they join with are good people. Become religious zealots or something like that. And everything that happens, because the Lord is going to take you. That might be the best that they can do, man. Because if they got to rely and pull on what their mother showed them, they in trouble.
They in trouble. Wow. Doc, you made a statement earlier on the program in the first hour, and you said that that they don't invest in people, and I thought that was very interesting. Can you expound on that real quick? When
That
you
what was I
say
talking about
when
when
you
they
saying
who's
that
the
Black women, they didn't invest in people, they
yeah, I
invest
mean,
in bags and material.
yeah, I mean, when you really think about and it's not just Black women. I have so many students right now who are investing in Dodge Hellcats.
Mm,
Um, that's where they put their interest, that's where they put their value at, so that's what they're going to end up getting until they wreck it, and of course the insurance ain't going to be there and they're going to be financially ruined. But what I meant about Black women is quite simply, you have some Black women who are raised within homes that value and just because it's a single female headed household doesn't mean that there can't be positive male role models, that there can be grandparents that display what a healthy family structure is. But you principally are going to have very few different types of Black women. One is going to be the girl who doesn't want to be in the game for whatever reason. It didn't attract her. She wasn't born with those proclivities inside of her DNA. She'll probably end up finding a guy, getting married early in her early 20s to mid 20s. They get together. Hopefully, it works out. They produce 3, 4 children, build a life together, and live happily ever after. You got those who are going to criticize her. They're going to call her a pick me because
mm,
what they want to do is they want to enjoy their young years, and they're going to be told to enjoy their young years by older Black women who enjoyed their young years and still ain't found nobody. So you're out here enjoying your young years, and what you're going to invest in is partying, school, career. So let's be clear. Just like the first girl ended up getting married, having children, and she is investing in her children and building a family. This other subset of Black women, they are going to invest in those three things that I just mentioned. Those are their children: partying, being able to go to whatever island and kick it and become broke, um, pursuing an education, pursuing a job. That's where they put their money at. That's where their interests are at. And so Jawanza Ganjufu, he would always say this: what you do the most, you shall do the best. So
mm,
if you do the most at college and pursuing a career versus forging a adult relationship with someone who could be a lifelong partner to you, that's what you're going to end up with. There is a foolish belief amongst a lot of Black men and Black women, but it's really amongst Black women, that they can just decide at a moment's notice that they're ready to get married and they're going to go and find this man, that he's going to voila up here and want to be with them. Life doesn't work that way. And the curse against Black women is quite simply that at their best, their utility is to produce a legacy for a man. That's them at their best. And that means that in many ways, what men are actually attaching themselves to them for is the production of children and the building of a kingdom.
mm,
As that productivity, as that fertility declines,
mhm,
their value declines. And for men, as their income bracket increases, they become more attractive because now they're able to provide for a family. Now they're able to take care of a woman. Now they're able to say, listen, baby, I just want you to stay home and raise these children. Now, this man may be 45, and the woman he gets may be 22, 23 years old.
mm,
That's going to hurt 30-something-year-old Black women,
mhm,
because in many ways, while they were partying and investing in their career and what have you, the game is going to pass them by. And no amount of crying, pleading, name calling of Black men who are 10 years older than them, yet marrying women who are 20 years their junior. You ain't gonna be able to get them back. They're at a different point of their life and a different point of their development. So you have what you invested in. You got those degrees on the wall. You had that trip over there to Antigua where y'all kicked it and just had a great time. And you got that job. And hopefully you can keep that job because that job is not guaranteed to you or nobody else.
That's true. It's true.
Because I mean, you know, you look at the D.C., Maryland, Virginia. Trump came up in there. You know, what you thought, the idea, oh shoot, government ain't gonna go out of business. Something strange happened on the way to the horizon. That the government has shrunk. And tens of thousands of jobs are no longer there. Good paying jobs, jobs that people could arrogantly say, well, I work for the department of so-and-so, and you're a mere handyman. Oh, please. You can't keep up with my lifestyle. Now you've been readjusted. Now you're sitting here making 35, 36,000. Which is honestly what your skill set probably always warranted. So what are you gonna do now? That's an issue.
For real, a real issue at that.
It's a real issue. I mean, the ironic thing, and this is why I say that, Black folk we've missed the boat, but God is always pointing us towards this idea of cooperation and collectivism, that when they came up with the figure that you need to make about 85 to 86,000 to be able to live a solidly middle class life in America. You add up the fact that Black women were making like 36,000 and Black men were at that time making like 50,000 a year. Add those two together and you're solidly middle class right there. But Black women seem to have a tendency to want to do it on their own and to be independent, making 36,000, trying to shame brothers into taking them to dinner. It's not adding up. I remember having an exchange with some students. And they went into all of that. Well, Black women are the most educated, blah, blah. I'm like, y'all are the most enrolled. You're not the most educated. And I have found this very embarrassing metric of wealth. And this is probably about 6-7 years ago. And it said that the median wealth for Black women at that time was $9.
Wow.
$9.
Wow.
And I remember there was a Mexican girl in my class, and these kids they do this thing where they're fact checking you as you're going. Okay, they're on Google, they're using their phones and things, which in many ways is a kind of it still rubs me the wrong way to see somebody on their phone while I'm lecturing, because I'm like, you don't just listen, but they're actually looking up information. And some of the Black girls, of course, were like, oh no, I doubt that being true. And she raised her hand. She said, yeah, it is true. It's right here in Forbes. Said that y'all wealth is $9. Doing it on your own. And it just brings us back to the thing that we have to face, and it is quite simply that Black folk have always had a more difficult time in this nation. And it's always taken two of us. It's always taken the both of us. And I'm not calling for Black women to enter into unions where they're abused, where they're, harmed and what have you, living with tyrants. But come on, let's be honest that the Mr. Johnson from The Color Purple, those are rare. within our community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what's wrong with your average self getting with a brother who is average as well, but he make 15 grand more than you?
Exactly.
What's wrong? What's wrong with that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I guess one of the things I find myself consistently saying to Black women is quite simply, it don't cost nothing to let somebody have peace.
Mm-hmm.
But you're in many ways wrapped up in a Tyler Perry one woman stage show where you gotta act like you Sapphire and you gonna have the last word and say all kind of old crazy shit to him. You
Mm-hmm.
know, let the man know that his baby is a Cartwright and get the shit knocked out of you. And now the Black man in the wrong. He in the wrong.
Exactly. Say that part.
Now he in the wrong. Now here come the police. You know,
Yep.
act like he just came in here and his eyes crossed and he slapped the shit out of me because it was Tuesday. No, that ain't what happened. Yeah, ain't nobody that with good sense gonna believe that happened.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Lord have mercy, boy, I tell you. But they love to act like that, boy. They love to act like there ain't nothing happened to precede that. It just happens like that. Nah.
Oh yeah. Next thing I knew, he had his fist balled up. You sitting there like, what? Well, ain't nothing happened before then? No. I was making some oxtails and some college for him. I guess he thought it was too much salt in them. He said something about, bitch, I'll kill you. I didn't know he was that serious about the seasonings that I was using. Exactly. He done hit me in the jaw and the oxtails all over the floor. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Come on.
Exactly.
And things are so bad that people have one of the wisest pieces of advice that I give young men is figure out how to work your phone real quickly so that within seconds you're able to record what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's sad. When you really think about it, that is sad because
Exactly.
you need some evidence of what it is that was said.
You better have it.
Because if it come down and he say, she say, oh, bro,
it's a wrap.
You better duck because the book is coming.
It's a wrap.
Because then you're gonna get mad up in the courtroom and tell the judge about himself. Okay, you know what, motherfucker, fuck you. Blah, blah, and now you're in contempt of court. Now you get all, you didn't push your lawyer down to the ground, and she over there with some pearls on, with tears going down. I see he's just irrational. This is what me and the children have to deal with on a daily basis.
Exactly.
They know how to get you hooked up.
Boy, I tell you, Doc, you just made me remember the time I was in this relationship with this crazy ass girl. And I ain't never hit her or nothing, but she was a fighter. She would love to come and try to hit me and all this foolishness.
Yeah, because she knew you wouldn't hit her.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And do you believe this chick actually went to get a restraining order on me? I'm like, what the fuck? You go down there to the white man and lie your ass off and get a restraining order on me, and I ain't never did nothing towards you. I ain't never attacked you. But you go get a restraining order on me? What kind of crazy ass shit is that?
Yeah. I had to go with one of my homeboys. He married, and I'll use his description of her. He said, I married the white Lil' Kim. That white girl was off the hook to the point she went to his job and acted a fool at his job. Used a brick and went into the CEO's office, man, broke the man's family portrait up, all that. He told him, he said, you can't come back here until you got a restraining order. So we down there trying to get a restraining order, right? Man, we're in a room full of women. Okay. Now he the victim. Okay. he the one that's been jumped on. Okay. And here come the security guard talking about, hey, you two niggas need to get up out of here. I know what y'all trying to do. Y'all trying to intimidate these women up in here. Which one of these women up here y'all done jumped on already?
Wow.
Like, hey, man. I'm like, yo, man, he the victim, man. He the one got jumped on. And he was like, oh, man, my brother, you got to be more careful out here, man. My bad. Yeah. Get a restraint, man. Look here, you get with somebody that know how to work the system. I got a homegirl hadn't got into it with her dude. Okay, they took her to jail. By the time she got out, he had to went to the court, got a restraining order, barring her from her own house.
What?
She couldn't go home. She had to have a sheriff escort her there to get some of her clothes. Yeah. Up in there talking about he didn't feel safe and that she was an abuser and all that. Yeah. It took her, it was like 90 days, a 90-day restraining order. Yeah.
Ooh, boy.
And he ended up leaving like on day 89 or whatever. He told me, he said, man, she ain't gonna come up in here and kill me because I know she mad.
That's right.
Yep. Had him went and got a restraining order against her. Yeah. Yeah, you mess around and raise your voice up in that courtroom and see what happened. You know, Your Honor, this is some bullshit right here. Oh, you done disrespected the court. Hit you with a fine and make you think you back in the abolitionist days.
Exactly.
You know, man. No, you don't want to go down in that courtroom. They gave me a fine talking about well you can fight it in court. Nope. I bet I don't. I ain't going down there. Ain't nothing positive. Y'all ain't gonna get rid of the fine. Then y'all hit me with court costs. And I'm gonna mumble something under my breath, and then he gonna say, "What did you say?" And I'm gonna say, "Oh, cracker, you heard what I said." The next thing you know, they wrestling you down. Now you got resisting arrest against a Leo. All that, man. It ain't worth it. Mail that money into him. Pay the Caesar what is due Caesar.
Definitely. All right, Doc, your closing comments for tonight.
Man, look here, man. I just enjoy my time with y'all. Look forward to the next time, man. You know, I'm trying to stay out the way. If it's gonna happen, I will be there when it happens. I might not be involved, but I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be on the scene when it happens. Just trying to stay low, brother. You know, and I ain't gonna enjoy my Labor Day by not laboring at anything.
I know that's real. I know that is real. We want to take this time out and thank our audience, those who participated and those who didn't. We want to thank Twin Pyramid. It's good to see you, Twin. Ain't seen you in a while. Glad to see you, bro. We want to thank Tranquil as well. Peace and blessings. We're glad to see you. And we want to thank also Matt 285. Peace and blessings, big bro. We're glad to see you. Welcome. And Big Brother Willie Rivers, peace and blessings, Big Brother Willie. We're glad to see you. We thank everybody for coming out and staying with us as we present this topic, which was a definitely very, very important topic, the Black male crisis, the genesis of the pain. That's something that we have to think on and understand and definitely solve this problem because it is a problem. We have to also remember our mission is not simply to document the problem. Our mission is to build a new reality. We must take the pain that we have seen and turn it into purpose. Let us move from a state of waiting to a state of doing. Let us be the ones to provide a fertile ground for our sons and our daughters. Let us be the ones to end the ridicule and injustice we have suffered for centuries. Remember, our fight is not just for ourselves, but for the generations to come. We thank you all for tuning in. We thank you all for staying with us. As we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black First, today, tomorrow, and forever. We thank you for listening. We thank you for participating, and we can't wait to see you again. And remember, as Doc said, invest in people. Invest in people. All righty. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.
Peace.
So you better get the message and get it straight.
You're gonna need some bridge work. It's simple as that.
Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.